and by beating City 2-1 at Portman Road in May of 2001, they relegated Joe Royal citizens to the second tier. How times have changed. Kieran McKenna has masterminded Ipswich's rise from League One to the Premier in just over 2 seasons in charge. He'd previously been coaching for Jose Mourinho, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Ralph Rangnick across the City and Manchester United before taking the reins in Suffolk in December 2021. Team news: Rodri didn't feature for City in the 2-0 win at Chelsea, doesn't feature here either. Ilkay Gundogan signed yesterday at the club for a second time from Barcelona, but he's only good enough for the bench. It's an unchanged 11 for Manchester City, but Phil Foden is ill and does not make the subs bench. So Edison in goal, Manuel Akanji, Ruben Dias and Josko Gvardiol at the back. Rico Lewis joining in with them, along with Mateo Kovacic in midfield. Jeremy Doku, Bernardo Silva, Kevin De Bruyne and Savinho behind Erling Haaland. As for Ipswich, well, Sammy Smodics makes his full debut this afternoon as one of 3 changes from the team that lost at home to Liverpool. Ben Johnson also makes his first full start for the club after coming in on a free transfer from West Ham. And it's a debut in goal for Ari Muric, once of Manchester City, who was at Burnley last season. Ari Muric then is the keeper. In front of him, what looks like a back 5 today: Axel Tuanzebe, Luke Wolfernan and Jacob Greaves as centre halves, with Leif Davis and Ben Johnson left and right. Sam Morsey and Massimo Luongo in midfield. Amari Hutchinson, Sammy Smodics and Liam Delap, another former City player, up top. On the bench for City: Ortega, Walker, Stones, Ake, Grealish, Gundogan, Nunes, Kabore and McAtee. The Ipswich bench: Walton, Edmondson, Chaplin, Harness, Kayuste, Taylor, Burgess, Al-Hamidi and Townsend. Perry Groves already pointing his finger at something he spotted out there.
Is there a change in referee?
Yes, you're right. Looks like Sam Allison has taken
Michael Salisbury.
Yep, Sam Allison is definitely out there in the middle. Michael Salisbury was meant to be taking charge, so Salisbury's now gone to the 4th official position and they've just swapped over. The VAR today back at Stockley Park is David Coote. And Ipswich players in their maroon brand new away strip. They'll be defending the south stand away to our right, which is where the Ipswich fans are roaring their approval for that huddle as they break out of that and take their positions. Manchester City in their regulation sky blue shirts, white socks and dark blue, white shorts and sky blue and dark blue socks. So City will be kicking left to right as we look from halfway back in the Colin Bell stand at the Etihad. Sunny afternoon in Manchester. We'll keep you in touch with all the goals elsewhere. Earlier, Manchester United lost to a late João Pedro header on TalkSport at the Amex. Brighton 2, Manchester United 1. Ipswich will have the kick-off here at the Etihad Stadium. Amari Hutchinson rolls it back to Ari Muric, the keeper, midway inside his own half, and he immediately tries to spread play out to this near side of the Ipswich left, where Savinho just had the ball taken off his toe by Leif Davis, and Pep Guardiola in his smart casual hoodie this afternoon gives the ball back to Rico Lewis, and we're underway good and proper in the Premier League this afternoon on TalkSport 2. So Manchester City looking for 5 successive Premier League titles. Brentford the last team to beat them here, November the 12th in 2022. Ball's back with Edison, wearing all orange this afternoon, the Manchester City keeper. Gvardiol gives it back to him, 0-0.
Yeah, just looking at Ipswich stance, at the minute they're at a flat back 4 with Tuanzebe obviously as the right back and Leif Davis as the left back, and Ben Johnson just looks like he's going to be coming a bit inverted to try and pick up Kevin De Bruyne.
Out on the left-hand side, Jeremy Doku starting on the left in Manchester City's midfield. Savinho on the right, the near side to us. We're on the same side as the dugouts here as Rico Lewis looks to find Savinho. Midway point at the Ipswich half, tight to the touchline. He's been watched by Leif Davis, rolls it back to Manuel Akanji. The Swiss gives it back to Savinho, up against Davis once more, trying to isolate him and go to the byline past him, gets to the byline, pulls the ball back, headed away at the near post by Sam Morsey defending, and Leif Davis just puts his left foot through it and gets it up to the halfway line, where Delap scraps for possession with Ruben Dias, but Dias classily wins the ball back for Manchester City. 0-0, minute and a half gone.
Yeah, good play from Zian on this right hand side. Jeremy Doku over on the left hand side, on the outside of Leif Davis, getting his cross in. Couldn't quite get enough perch on it to get to far post, cleared at the near post. Just looking at Ipswich as well, Dance, it'll be like a 4-5-1 out of possession. It looks like Schmodic will sort of try and come out on this left-hand side.
Watford 0, Derby County 1 in the Championship. Ubu Adams wants a Forest Green Rovers, has given Derby the lead. Watford been in excellent form under Tom Cleverley at the start of the season with 2 wins and 6 goals, but they trail at Vicarage. Here, down the left-hand side of the area, Josko Gvardiol across the face of goal. Haaland trying to turn it in. Feltjeb is being pushed to the ground by Jacob Greaves, and whilst the ball was stuck on the turf, Muric gratefully dived on top of it. 0-0.
Good play from Gvardiol going on the underlap there. Just making sure he gets to the byline. Good play from Jeremy Doku, just releasing Gvardiol, just tries to whip the ball across the 6-yard box. Muric does well, Dance, initially at the near post, gets his palm to it, then the little rebound comes up. Haaland looks like he might put it in. Jacob Greaves does really well.
Hurried clearance by Muric out for a throw on this near side, and Pep Guardiola's asking the ball boys and ball girls to get hurried up and get the ball back to a City player to restart. Middlesbrough 0, Portsmouth 1 elsewhere in the Championship. Christian Sadie, one of their strikers, has given Pompey the lead, who've drawn their first 2 in the Championship. And down in League 1, Exeter, they lead Peterborough by a goal to 0. They haven't won their last 2 after winning the opener. Reece Cole has given Exeter the lead at St James Park. Here at the Etihad, we played 3 minutes on TalkSport 2. Ian Danter and Perry Groves with you. Manchester City 0, Ipswich Town 0. Rico Lewis playing as an orthodox right back for the moment, but we saw him tuck it in midfield against Chelsea and leave City with 3 at the back effectively. Gvardiol on the other side of the field in bright sunshine, works it out to the left wing, and Doku faced up by Twanzebe. De Bruyne making a run down that left hand side to join in with Doku, being faced up by Wolfenden. Ball teased in field looking for Kovacic, who scored the second at Stamford Bridge, and then Ipswich try and bring it clear, and Ben Johnson was fouled at the right-hand corner of his own penalty area, and it's a free kick to the Suffolk side. 0-0.
Yeah, just a heavy touch there from Kovacic, just getting it in that inside left position. Just a little ball inside from Kevin De Bruyne. Just looking at Ipswich again, tactically, Dance, it looks like Schmodic will come out on this left-hand side when Savinho has the ball to try and double up with Leif Davis, and out on the right-hand side, Mari Hutchinson will just drift across. You've got Ben Johnson there as well, so they're going to try and create the 2v1 situations where Man City got their wideman on the ball.
0-0. Davis flicks it onto Delap, once off Manchester City, part of the academy, son of Rory Delap. Looks like he shoved Rico Lewis in the back there, right in front of the referee. Rico Lewis tried to play on, but you heard the blast of Sam Allinson's whistle. So earlier today, as I mentioned, Brighton beat Manchester United live on TalkSport. That was 2-1 in the end, a very late João Pedro header. Elsewhere in the Championship, draws between Bristol City and Coventry, Hull and Millwall, and QPR and Plymouth. 9-man Plymouth got a point at QPR. You heard that on TalkSport too. Stockport still 100%, still haven't conceded in League One. They won 2-0 against Bristol Rovers. Burton Albion 0-0 with Stevenage. 2-0 with Swindon, and Tranmere beat Walsall, who'd started League 2 well. Now Ben Johnson coming forward for Ipswich, gets past Kovacic, but a brilliant retrieving challenge from Kovacic, who then rides the attempted tackle of Omari Hutchinson and tries to send Doku away down the left-hand side, but Muric comes out to the centre of his own half and clears his lines. Cambridge 0, Blackpool 1. Richard Keogh in temporary charge of Blackpool after Neil Critchley dismissed in the week, and James Husband has given the Seasiders the lead at Cambridge, who haven't won or scored yet this season.
No doubt Ari Muric is going to be very entertaining with him in goal today, because his starting position was excellent there. It looks like Doku might have been in.
Haaland trying to roll his way past Jacob Greaves. That should be an interesting confrontation between those two giants this afternoon on this Etihad playing surface. Leyton Orient 0, Birmingham City 1. Keshi Anderson putting Birmingham ahead at Brisbane Road, trying to maintain their unbeaten start to the season. Here's Gvardiol for Manchester City at 0-0. Finds De Bruyne, left-hand corner of the area, trying to turn it back inside for Gvardiol, who made an inverted run, but instead Omari Hutchinson bursts clear for Ipswich up to the halfway line. Flicks it infield to Johnson. Johnson plays it through. Smodics is onside. Smodics hits it through the legs of Edison, and it's in! What a start for Ipswich Town, and Sammy Smodics on his full debut sends the away end into raptures. Suddenly Ipswich broke clear. Omari Hutchinson led the charge, and then Ben Johnson tying the ball through to Smodics to perfection. He played it through the legs of Edison, did Smodics. He got something on it, but the ball trickled agonisingly over the line for the City defenders trying to get back. And would you believe it? Manchester City 0, Ipswich Town 1.
Sammy Smodics is like, what's all the fuss about the Premier League? It's easy. It's a brilliant breakaway goal. At first, Morsey does really well on the edge of the box to make the interception. Comes to Mari Hutchinson. He travels with the ball on that right hand side, just gets it inside to Ben Johnson. Sammy Smodics times his run perfectly from the centre to the right hand side. He's 1v1 v Edison, gets it onto his right foot. Edison spreads himself. It just gets a little nick on the inside of Edison's right foot, and then it waits and waits, and Sammy Smodics is watching it thinking, it's rolling in, exactly what it does. Ipswich, it's silence here at the Etihad. Ipswich Town go 1-0 up.
And that ball proper, it was back spinning over the line. It was trickling over the line whilst trying to spin away from the goal line.
Sammy Smodics, I could see his cheeks billow when he was blowing the ball over the line. He was looking at it, waiting, and he knew. And it wasn't until it was about a yard from getting over the line he thought, I've scored here. What a breakaway goal from Ipswich.
He scored 33 goals in 48 appearances for Blackburn. He was 3 goals already this season before he came to Ipswich whilst he was playing for Rovers, and now he's given Ipswich Town the lead. Yes, you heard me right. Manchester City are 1-0 down, and we played 8 minutes on TalkSport 2. And the ball's brought away by Luongo, but passes straight to Akanji, out to the right-hand side, and Savinho, right-hand corner of the area. As City try and respond. Savinho goes down, and what's the referee given? Nothing but a corner, I think. He's given a goal kick, in fact. There was just a heart-in-mouth moment for Leif Davis, wondering whether he'd given a penalty there. But it's a goal kick, 1-0 Ipswich.
Referee Sam Allison blew his whistle. I thought he'd give a penalty because Savinho goes on the outside of Leif Davis. It's a foul dance. It's bang on the line. I'll be amazed if VAR doesn't have a look at this, because it's bang on the line, and it's Leif Davis's left foot just catches Savinho's right knee. There's going to be a VAR check.
Well, we're looking on the monitors to see whether there is going to be a look by David Coote, but it is 1-0 for the moment to Ipswich Town. Peterborough have equalised to Exeter. Malik Mothersill makes it 1-1 at St James's Park.
Dance, I'm looking at that. I think it's a penalty.
Well, VAR is now taking a look. David Coote is now looking at the footage along with Nick Greenhalgh, who's the other VAR official. Is it a clear and obvious error? That's what they're looking at. Referees call a lot this season, Perry, don't forget.
They are, but Sam Allison
he's been told to come and look at the monitor,
because he was looking at the assistant who's on this side, hoping that he was going to say yes, it's a penalty. Then Sam Allison wasn't brave enough to give the decision. Now he's come over to monitor. We all know what this means. It's going to be a penalty. On first look stance, I thought it was a penalty. It's a nightmare for Ipswich because they needed to make sure they could hold on to that 1-0 lead for like 5 or 6 minutes.
So Sam Allison is over on this near touchline. The referee review area is just down to our right hand side, and he's having a good long look at the footage, and it is working, unlike Everton last week where it wasn't working for the VAR officials. And he's having a long, hard look at the footage, and it's being slowed down. I thought that referees were being told they were going to look at full speed footage more than anything else. Middlesbrough 1, Portsmouth 1. Meantime, Matt Clark equalises for Middlesbrough, and Dundee lead at Hibernian in Scotland by a 1-0. Still, Sam Allison is studying the footage, the referee. Ipswich 1-0 up. Kieran McKenna comes at hands in pocket, and it's a penalty as Allison turns away and points to the spot, and Leif Davis is indeed punished for that challenge on Savinho, and Manchester City have a penalty kick.
Dance, on first looks, I said I thought it was a penalty. Savinho goes on the outside of Leif Davis, and as he just toe pokes it away with his right foot, Leif Davis comes in with his left. I said, Sam Allison, referee, he blew the whistle. I thought he was given a penalty. He looked at the assistant didn't give any help, so that's why then he just waited. We knew it was going to go to VAR, so I think VAR has made the right decision out, but I think Sam Allison, the referee, should have been brave and give the penalty in real time.
Well, a penalty's been awarded, and it's Erling Haaland who is going to spot the ball down. He got Manchester City's season going with that very tight, close control finish at Stamford Bridge last Sunday, and only now is he spotting the ball down. Ari Muric, once of Manchester City, is just doing a few exercises on his goal line. Still, Haaland hasn't spotted the ball. He's trying gamesmanship on the goalkeeper rather than the other way round. But Haaland has eventually placed the ball on the spot. Very deliberately steps back 3 or 4 paces from the ball. Haaland, left-footed to bring City level, does it! Sends Muric the wrong way, buries it in the bottom left-hand corner, and Erling Haaland makes an early start on a second century of Manchester City goals and brings the home side level within a couple of minutes of going behind. Inevitable. Erling Haaland from the spot makes it Manchester City 1, Ipswich Town 1.
Dance, it was never in doubt. Erling Haaland's now scored against every Premier League team that he's played. So that's 23 teams he's played against. How you said, he put the ball on a penalty spot, just waited for Muric just to go to his left-hand side, just rolled it to the right-hand side, as if that was like a training ground penalty dance, wasn't it? As if he's under no pressure whatsoever. And that's the worst thing that could happen to Ipswich. Obviously, going in front with Sammy Smodic's goal, they needed to be and hold on to it like 5-6 minutes just to get that little bit jeopardy for Man City. Now we're back at 1-1.
Johnson flicks the ball forward for Ipswich. It drops in the centre of the Manchester City half for Sam Morsey. Manages to tuck it back to Axel Tuanzebe, once of Manchester United. And back it goes into the Ipswich half. And Luke Wolfenden, who really has been on one of those journeys, to coin a phrase, for Ipswich Town through the divisions to the Premier League, gets it back to the centre circle of Morsey. Charlton 1, Bolton Wanderers 0. Greg Doherty for Charlton. Good start to the season for Nathan Jones and the Addicts. Newport County 1, Accrington Stanley 0. Seb Quirk for the Exiles down in League 2. Now Ari Muric lost the ball at the edge of the area and tucked away by Kevin De Bruyne, and Ari Muric, once again, he does it so often, guilty of squandering possession outside his own penalty area, easily dispossessed, and the ball just ran loose for Kevin De Bruyne to sweep the ball home from just outside the box. And from being behind, suddenly Manchester City find themselves in front inside the quarter-hour mark. It is Manchester City 2, Ipswich Town 1, but that is all Ari Muric's fault.
Dance, we said it wasn't to be dull with Ari Muric in goal. And again, you've got to use your football intelligence. Just go long for 5-10 minutes. He puts his foot on the top of the ball, then he just closed down. His 3 Man City players come to close him down. Savino from this right-hand side, he makes sure that Muric can't go back to the left back, takes 2 touches. Savino just gets it off him, just actually, as he falls over, then Savino just manages to knock it back to Kevin De Bruyne. Then he's just got an easy chance, just roll it into an empty net with his left foot. That is just a lack of football intelligence from Ari Muric, Dance, because you've just conceded. Make sure that you go long, just take the pressure out of it, and he's put his team bang in trouble now. Man City go in front 2-1.
On the quarter-hour mark here on TalkSport 2, you're listening to Manchester City 2, Ipswich 1 on TalkSport 2 with Sky Sports. Don't forget, you can stream more Sky Sports football than ever before as Haaland heads the ball round the keeper. Is he going to tuck it in for 3? Oh, magnificent! Erling Haaland! In the blink of an eye, Manchester City have scored 3 goals and Ipswich have been torn apart as Erling Haaland nodded the ball past Muric at the left-hand corner of the area. The angle was getting tighter and tighter with every stride, but that doesn't put off somebody like Erling Haaland. His second of the afternoon, he's already on a hat-trick, and Ipswich, what an inquest for all their players in the centre of the half. Suddenly, from being 1-0 up, they are 3-1 down.
Dance, they've completely lost their shape, they've completely lost their composure. Talk about weighing on a team's bonfire. Erling Haaland, which is said the threat he is, just goes out to that left-hand side, Kevin De Bruyne, so a great ball, just chips it over the top of the Ipswich defence. Erling Haaland make the run from the centre to the left-hand side. I actually think that Ari Muric doesn't need to come out, Dance. I think that if he just stays his ground, then he gives Haaland the decision. Erling Haaland just has a little look over his right shoulder. He knows that Muric has come charging out of his goal, puts himself in no-man land. Haaland just heads it past him to his left-hand side as the ball bounces up, just left-foot volley, puts it into an empty net. That is now game done and dusted. Dance, I don't think I've ever seen such a quick turnaround in a football match.
No, I'm struggling. And Muric is the main culprit. Let's have it right. On his full debut for Ipswich Town. He has effectively cost 2 goals. Nothing he could do about the penalty. Tottenham Hotspur lead Everton elsewhere in the Premier League by goal to 0. Bissouma. Leyton Orient equalise against Birmingham. Ethan Galbraith makes it 1-1. And down in League 2, Callum Hendry's given MK Dons the lead against Carlisle United. But this could be absolutely anything at this point. We've played 17 minutes on TalkSport 2. It is now Manchester City 3, Ipswich Town 1, and Muric is getting the bird from the Manchester City fans every time he gets the ball at his feet, because he looks nervous as a kitten as he tries to distribute the ball downfield.
Gant, he's nervous. I'm nervous. I'm nervous when it goes back to him. I've not got a dog in the fight either, because he's cost his team massive. And I know that Kieran McKenna will say after the game, no, it's my responsibility, I want us to play like this out for back. But as a player, you have to take responsibility and have football intelligence.
That's exactly what Russell Martin said to me last week after Alex McCarthy's mistake led to Newcastle's ultimate winner at St James's Park. I was about to tell you that you can stream more Sky Sports football than ever before. Available with no contract on Now, like Aston Villa Arsenal. Live today, search Now Sports. That's a 5:30 kickoff, and you'll hear regular updates of that game in the game day phone-in with Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy, manacled together for this season from 5:30 on TalkSport. Meantime, here on TalkSport 2, Manchester City 3-1 up, and they've just won a corner away to our right-hand side that they take quickly. De Bruyne down to the byline, left-hand side, pulls it across the face of goal. Slightly awkward clearance, and it goes out of play on the far side. It's Jacob Greaves who got the important touch to get it clear, but City have a throw. Fulham lead Leicester by a goal to 0. Emil Smith-Rowe, just arrived from Arsenal, has given Fulham the lead at Craven Cottage in the Premier League. 3-1 here to Manchester City, and it was only moments ago that we were talking about Sami Smodic's opener of the game to put Ipswich 1 up. Akanji for Manchester City, inside right channel, plays it out to Savinho on the right wing, and he tucks it back inside for Akanji once more. Back out to Savinho, level with the edge of the area, right hand side, checks in on his left foot, shapes to cross but then feints, gives it back to Akanji. Savinho again spots Lewis making a run to the byline. Across comes Luongo, puts it out of play. Smodicson actually comes back and puts behind for another corner to Manchester City. Rangers 1, Ross County 0 in Scotland. Birmingham City back in front against Leyton Orient, Alfie May. And Karlan Grant's given West Brom the league in the old Staffordshire derby at Stoke City. Corner to Manchester City to be taken on this near side into the near post by Savinho. Comes back to him via Kevin De Bruyne. 2 Ipswich players facing it. Gives it to De Bruyne, right hand corner of the area. Levery ball chips in. Haaland's on a hat-trick, guides it back in front of the face of goal, and it's a frantic clearance from Ipswich Town to get it up into the centre circle, but it won't find Hutchinson. Instead it finds the head of Rico Lewis, and Manchester City end up conceding possession to Ipswich midway point of the Tractor Boys half. 3-1 to the hosts.
Dan, you know, I said obviously when Sami Smodic scored, Premier League, it's not all that. This is quite easy. This is a massive learning curve for Kieran McKenna's Ipswich team, because you cannot switch off in the Premier League, Dance. There's been a complete swing in this game in 4 minutes. Man City have scored 3 goals in 4 minutes, and that includes obviously the kick-off times as well. And even on the Erling Haaland's second goal, Kevin De Bruyne picks the ball up out on the left-hand side. There's no pressure on the ball, so that means that Wolford and Greaves, 2 Ipswich centre-halves, they've got to drop off, because Erling Haaland just makes a simple diagonal run in behind him. Muric comes out, no man, and heads it round him, puts it into an empty net. This is going to be a very long final 70 minutes now for this Ipswich team.
3-1 City. Here's Doku down the far left-hand side up against Twanzebe. Tries to jink inside him, but across comes Ben Johnson to help out. Twanzebe chips it up to halfway, but nobody there in an Ipswich shirt. Instead, Ruben Diaz can pick it up. Doncaster 1, Morecambe 0 in League 2. And Huddersfield in League 1 leading Shrewsbury by a goal to 0 through Callum Marshall. Gvardiol for Manchester City guides it back to Ruben Diaz just in front of the centre circle. Squares the ball to his right for Akanji. Now Savinho picks it up right hand side, once again up against Davis. Comes in field, then jinks back onto his left foot, going down the right hand side of the box, tries to nutmeg Davis. And Ipswich spin it back. Davis will just loft it down the left-hand side. Good control from Delap, but across comes the challenge from Diaz and puts it out for a throw. No-nonsense challenge from the Manchester City number 3-1.
Yeah, we've just seen when it comes out to this right-hand side with Savinho, obviously he's left-footed, wants to come inside. Seen a lot of runs from Rico Lewis in that sort of, again, underlapping position. In the right-hand side of the penalty box, said there, Savinho just tried to nutmeg Leif Davis, give the ball away, put it up to Rory Delap, he managed to get a throw in for Ipswich.
That's former Arsenal title winner Perry Gross, you can hear alongside me, Ian Dante here at the Etihad, where we played 22 minutes, almost at the midway point of the first half. Haaland on 12 minutes, De Bruyne on 14 minutes, and Haaland again on 16 minutes after Smodics had given Ipswich a 7th minute lead. 3-1 to the hosts. Norwich have just taken the lead against Sheffield United in the Championship. Josh Sargent, always a good Championship striker. The American has put Norwich ahead at Carrow Road.
This game will spring to life in a minute. It's not really ignited yet, is it?
Not quite. And Manchester City had that massive banner showing all who care to look upon them that they are looking for 5 in a row in terms of league titles, and they will be gunning for that. Could it be Pep Guardiola's final season? We'll just have to wait and see. Wrexham lead Reading by a goal to nil in League One. Ollie Palmer, as Savinho heads the ball down the right hand side but runs out of room, can't get to the dead ball line. Jacob Greaves has defended it well, so yeah, Ollie Palmer makes it Wrexham 1, Reading 0 in League One. And Pep Guardiola, for a team, he's shaking his head, for a team that's 3-1 up, he doesn't look HP to me, whereas Kieran McKenna was at the edge of his technical area, is still there now, sort of hand on chin, as Edison plays a bit of Ari Muric football and tries to get dispossessed by Ben Johnson, but then he just leans into Johnson and the ball goes out of play in the end for a Manchester City throw. 3-1.
Did you say Wrexham just gone 1-0 against Reading?
Yes.
They're 19 years unbeaten at home in League One. Well, it's on their second game in 19 years, but they are unbeaten in 7 at home in all comps. 1-6 drew 1.
Is that your stat of the day?
No, there's a few more coming.
Okay, good. I'm slightly underwhelmed by that one, but I know if there's more to come.
Just a warm-up.
Muric with the ball at his feet again, just passes through to Morsey, gets it up to Smodics just shy of the halfway line. Good close control from Sammy Smodics and works it out to Johnson on the right hand side. Delap is going through the middle, trying to play on the shoulder of Akanji, still with Ben Johnson, tried to flick it out to the right hand side and Amari Hutchinson, but it was won back by Kovacic, and now Doku inside his own half calms things down for City, who lead 3-1 on TalkSport 2.
Gantz, that was brilliant play from Morsey, because he said Muric was on tenterhooks at the minute. He just rolls it into him, and Morsey makes sure he just gets it at the outside of his right foot, spins away from his marker, gets it into Hutchinson. Unfortunately, Hutchinson gives the ball away. Just looking at Ipswich, you can tell they've worked on their tactics when they're out of possession in free play, because basically it's a 4-3-3, so it's 2 blocks of 3, so they're playing very, very narrow. So obviously up front is Delap, right side is Hutchinson, this side is Smodics, so they're inviting Man City to go on the outside of them.
Pep Guardiola looks very, very happy. You could fit 2 rolls of lino under his arms. He's got both arms, hands on hips. Very, very unhappy with the way Manchester City are passing the ball about, despite being 3-1 up. Tottenham are 2-0 up against Everton. Son Heung-min. Sunderland lead Burnley in the game of the day in the Championship. Romain Mundle makes Savinho plays the ball into the near post, straight into the arms of Muric, and Portsmouth are back in front of Middlesbrough. Christian Sadie's got his second of the game. Middlesbrough 1, Portsmouth 2 in the Championship. Why is Pep Guardiola so unhappy at 3-1 up?
I think he feels that maybe they're just giving the ball away a little bit too much in the wide areas, but it's easy to be unhappy, Dance, when your team's been 1-0 down in the 7th minute and then you turn it round in 4 minutes to go 3-1 up.
It's a crazy 4 minutes here at the Etihad Stadium as the sun still shines brightly on the turf, or at least half of it, the near half to us, as we sit in the Colin Bell stand, is in shade.
You know what Kieran McKenna will say after the game, Dance? You're playing one of the best teams, if not the best team in Europe, right? He would say that he wants his team to make Man City work for their goals, and they haven't had to work for their goals because all 3 of them have been individual mistakes.
Yeah, a penalty and then a poor pass out from, well, Muric, robbed of possession and then beaten to the punch by Erling Haaland at the edge of the area. That's the tale of this first half so far here on TalkSport 2. 3-1 to the champions, and they're in possession again with Akanji. Ipswich, you've got everybody in their own defensive third. Here's Savinho, right hand side, up against Davis once more, just jockeying him for a little bit of space. Gets it back after a quick 1-2 with Akanji. Now tries to go through the legs of Leif Davis, but he runs into Massimo Luongo, and then it's cleared downfield by Smodics. Delap takes a little touch, trying to outrun Ruben Diaz on this near touchline, but he's too canny for that. Ruben Diaz tidies up really nicely and gives the ball to Akanji on halfway. Can he set up a ball over the top for Haaland? Maybe. He was just caught on his toes a little bit, so he goes back into his own half. 3-1 City.
I'm just looking at Savinho, Dan. So I think he should be on RuPaul's Drag Race, because he just sachets away, doesn't he? He stops the ball, and you think you're going to go and tackle him, and then as Leif Davis comes out, he just nicks it away with his left foot, and then just sachets away to the right or to the left.
Well, there you go, dear listener. You never thought you were going to hear RuPaul mentioned in a Manchester City Ipswich commentary. Fair play to you, Perry. Fair play to you. 27 minutes gone.
We're all encompassing on Talksport, aren't we?
Doku in the area, left hand side, trying to make room for a cross. Lewis! Oh, he's hit the crossbar from 8 yards out. He should have buried it. Muric was nowhere, but it stayed out of the crossbar, still vibrating. Now it's at the edge of the area. Lewis again, trying to make room for a shot. Bernardo Silva trying to help him out, but Ipswich will get it clear. That should be 4-1.
Rico Lewis has got to score. Brilliant play from Jeremy Doku on the left-hand side again. Feature of the two wide men. They go on the outside. This time he goes on the outside of Twanzebe. Just cuts the ball back. Just takes a little ricochet. Lewis, all he's got to do is just chip it into an empty net dance. He's gone for power, and he said he's actually smashed it against a crossbar. Crossbar still wobbling as we speak. Ball bounces down, comes out. Should be 4-1 to Man City.
But it's 3-1. Savinho again on this right hand side, up against Leif Davis, plays it backwards a square for Akanji, back further in field to Mateo Kovacic. Gvardiol now picks it up to the edge of the area, slide rule pass looking for Haaland, who's on a hat-trick, doesn't find the Norwegian, but out it goes to Doku on the left hand side, and the tricky Belgian winger thinks better of going for a cross this time and instead works it back in field. Kovacic across to De Bruyne, centre of the half, going to go for goal from distance. He hits the bar, comes out to Lewis, who can't head it goalwards. Muric was a spectator, as I think the shot took a deflection from Kevin De Bruyne, but the woodwork saves Ipswich once again from going further behind. But it is a corner to Man City. 3-1.
That's a brilliant strike from Kevin De Bruyne. And just looking at the replay again, it looks like someone has nailed Muric's feet to the floor, because he doesn't move. He just watched it go over his left shoulder, crashes into the crossbar, comes out, corner for Man City on their right hand side,
which will be taken by Savinho once Sam Allison, the referee, has just given a couple of players a warning that he's keeping his eye on pushing and pulling of shirts. Short corner from Savinho, gets it back from Bernardo Silva. Now De Bruyne, right hand corner of the area, quick cross headed away by Twanzebe, but it's going to be collected by Ruben Diaz on the far left hand side. Back in field it goes to Lewis. Now De Bruyne again from a similar position to where he just hit the crossbar, sends in a ball to the area looking for Haaland, only half cleared by Ipswich. Doku now picks it up, left hand side, trying to twist away from Ben Johnson, runs into Hutchinson, but Doku has it again. He will work it back for Gvardiol on that far left hand side for Manchester City. Doku again, faced up by Johnson, gets to the edge of the area, gives it back to Gvardiol, feints to cross, drives for the byline, checks onto his right foot, the Croatian, back to Kovacic, across for De Bruyne, who's going to go for goal again, and this is wide. Went for it with his left foot and drags it wide of the post. It's currently Manchester City 3, Ipswich Town 1 on the half hour. And for the latest odds, head to William Hill, the official betting partner of TalkSport 2's Premier League coverage, where right now you can get City to win 4-1 at 11-2. 5-1 is priced at 4-1, and 6-1 priced the same as 4-1, 11-2. That's all thanks to William Hill. 18 plus, begambleaware.org. Once again, Ipswich give the ball away at the edge of their own penalty area, and then Luongo's bailed out by Jacob Greaves when it looked like Savino was heading into the area once again. Let me give you some goals that have gone in elsewhere. Barnsley 1-0 up on Northampton. Cambridge equalised against Blackpool, that's 1-1. Lincoln lead Mansfield in League One by a goal to nil. Wigan lead Crawley by a goal to nil. Watford have equalised at home to Derby 1-1 Vacuum Bio. MK Dons 2-0 up on Carlisle. Stoke have equalised against West Brom. Lewis Kumas, son of Jason Kumas, who played for West Brom, has equalised for Stoke. Sheffield United equalised at Norwich. Ollie Arblaster. And you're up to date on TalkSport 2 as Doku makes strides down the left-hand side. I'll bring Perry Groves back in just a minute. We've played 31.5 minutes of incredible, intense action, and it could be 5-1 to Manchester City. In the end, it's 3 at the moment. And it goes from Akanji to the feet of Mateo Kovacic, just outside the Ipswich penalty area, back to play.
This is turned into a practice game dance now, isn't it?
Yep.
Forwards against defence. The only player in the attacking options for Man City who is disciplined really is Kovacic, who stays at the base of that midfield.
Savino looking to take on Davis down this near side of the penalty area, the right. Stent hasn't put the ball in, just lays it back to Akanji. Akanji crosses for Haaland, who tries to improvise an effort on goal with the back of his head, and it went a good 4 or 5 yards wide. Wrexham have gone 2-0 upon Reading in League One. Elliot Lee, and there's an Ipswich player gone down. Amari Hutchinson went down a little earlier actually after the second goal for Manchester City, and the man who's now a permanent signing at Ipswich following his initial loan last season from Chelsea needs some treatment inside the D of his own penalty area. 3-1 Manchester City. Perry Groves.
Dan, I'm just looking at the Ipswich supporters' faces. This is like they're in complete shock, a bit like their team is on the pitch, because the emotions of a football fan, how they can turn so quickly in 9 minutes, Dance, when you've got the exhilarated joy of seeing your team go in front against one of the best teams in Europe. Really well constructed goal from Sammy Szmodics, great ball from Ben Johnson, and then 9 minutes later, the game's done and dusted, your team's 3-1 down, and you're now hoping that you're not going to get a hammering.
Kieran McKenna has just taken this opportunity to bring all the other outfield players towards him for a brief conflab with just over 10 minutes to half-time. Hutchinson's back on his feet, moving a little awkwardly as he gets back to his feet, but he should be coming back on. Elsewhere, Stoke 1, West Brom 2. Josh Madger puts West Brom back in front at the Bet365. So Erling Haaland on a hat-trick. He's now scored 15 goals in 10 August appearances in the Premier League for Manchester City. And he's on a hat-trick, and I think he started this season on 7 hat-tricks.
That's what a summer off does for you. Go and do a little bit of yoga in the Alps somewhere, come back, have a load of ice baths. He's got his infrared bed now as well, isn't he? Like we go on for 15 minutes just to relax the muscles. And
9 hat-tricks for Manchester City. 22 senior hat-tricks he's got, Erling Haaland. 6 of those in the Premier League for Manchester City. So he's on for a 7th if he fancies one this afternoon, and I don't think he's going to get many better opportunities with so long to go in this game. Just over 10 minutes to the break on TalkSport 2. Ball given away by Rico Lewis, but he was being fouled in doing so by Szmodics, so it's a free kick to Manchester City inside their own half, which they've taken quickly. Just having a look down at Kieran McKenna's having a word with the 4th official, and then maybe Amari Hutchinson's got problems. No, he's back out there and he's okay. Left hand side, Jeremy Doku gives it back to Kevin De Bruyne, who scored Manchester City's 2nd goal of the 3 they've got so far this afternoon. Akanji plays it out to a lot of the ball on this right hand side for the champions. Gets to the right hand corner of the box, still going in field, still trying to make room for a shot. Ball's blocked, a right footed shot goes wide, and the referee is going to book Sam Morsey. Another yellow card. He's a walking yellow card, is Sam Morsey, for the challenge on Savino just inside the D, and Manchester City have a free kick 20 yards from goal, 3-1 up.
Dad, to be fair, Leif Davis doesn't know whether to stick or twist, because Savino can go on the outside, and this time he goes on the inside, goes the inside of Sammy Szmodics. The next player and cab on the rank is Sam Morsey, because he knows that Savino wants to get the ball on his left foot to try and bend it in Murich's far post. Sam Morsey just trips him up on the edge of the box. Sam Allison, referee, quite rightly gives the free kick. Danger position now for Ipswich. Kevin De Bruyne's got the ball in his hand in the D. It may be for an up and down a little bit too close.
14 yellow cards last season for Sam Morsey. I don't think anybody ever got 15 in the Championship, but he was very, very close. And his caution has led to this free kick inside the D to the right of centre. There are 3 players standing over it having a chat: Savinho, De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva. The Ipswich wall is being set up 8 yards, I would say, from goal, and there is a draft excluder. Can't see who it is, but somebody.
Leif Davis had an arrest.
Leif Davis is doing the maybe like one of your French girls look, lying on the deck. Who's going to strike it? De Bruyne looks favourite. Right-footed, straight into the wall, and it comes out to the centre of the half, where Akanji spreads it to this near side, the right, and Rico Lewis. Savinho takes over, tries to nutmeg Davis once again, and it doesn't come off, and Ipswich should be able to bring it clear. Hutchinson can't get after that lobbed pass that was meant for him by Sam Morsey. It's out of play for a throw. Cambridge 1, Blackpool 2. James Husband puts Blackpool back in front under the temporary stewardship of the former Derby defender Richard Keogh. Newport 1, Accrington Stanley 1. Sean Whalley gets Stanley level at Rodney Parade down in League 2. Here in the Premier League, you with TalkSport 2. 8 minutes to the break. Manchester City were a goal down to Ipswich, but they're 3-1 up and piling forward again with Jeremy Doku down the left-hand side trying to ride a couple of challenges. Managed to squirm the ball in field, given away by Ipswich near the edge of their own penalty area, but they managed to get it clear the second time of asking. And De Bruyne will guide it back to Gvardiol.
Yeah, it was Luongo that time, just giving the ball away cheaply. At the moment, Ipswich can't get out. It's all Man City, just dominate possession. Bernardo Silva's drifting from centre out to the left-hand side. Kevin De Bruyne's going in and playing in the 10, and then he's come over on the right-hand side. Rico Lewis is going inverted from this right-back position. So basically, Dance, Ipswich are playing against the Red Arrows, because Man City, their movement is absolutely fantastic.
Savinho coming in from the right flank and floating a ball intended for Doku out on the far side of the field, but it's well defended by Ben Johnson, and then Doku just robs it from him. Brilliant work from the Belgian, skips in field past the challenge of Hutchinson into the centre of the Ipswich half, gives it to Rico Lewis. Lewis lays it off to Kovacic, out to the left hand side, and De Bruyne will now tuck it back for Gvardiol to the edge of the centre circle, and Ruben Diaz, who now picks up possession for the champions. Kovacic plays the ball to his right again for Diaz, out to Savinho. Very much a target for Manchester City's passing football in this first half, even more so than Doku in this first 45.
You know, when they say it's difficult to get to grips with what Pep Guardiola wants you to do, you know, and his tactics and, you know, the different nuances, Savinho hasn't taken very long, has he, to be
Didn't
fair?
take Doku long either, if I remember rightly, last season, and that's the accusation that's oft been levelled at Jack Grealish, who's amongst the City substitutes this afternoon. Gvardiol out to the left-hand side, and De Bruyne plays a 1-2 with Doku. Preston 1, Luton 0 in the Championship. Will Keane for Preston. That's Paul Heckingbottom's first game in charge of Preston. Blackpool 3-1 up at Cambridge. Carl Joseph, Richard Keogh get the job permanently at this rate with performances like that, but Cambridge has not started well this season under Gary Monk. Here's Doku trying to collect the ball down the left-hand side of the area from Gvardiol's lofted pass, but the first touch was too heavy and drifts behind for a goal kick. You're listening to Manchester City 3, Ipswich 1 on TalkSport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Enterprise has vans of all shapes and sizes, so if you've got a plan, they've got a van. Don't forget the game day phone-in with Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy from 5:30 on TalkSport. Taking your calls 03717 223344 and bringing you regular updates on the game of the day in the Premier League. Aston Villa against Perry's Arsenal. That is a 5:30 kickoff at Villa Park.
Revenge on the cards, Dance. 2 defeats last season,
Yes.
one in April, cost us massive.
The law of the ex-manager in this instance in Unai Emery. Incidentally, Leicester City have equalised at Fulham. Wout Faes gets the Foxes level at Craven Cottage. Ipswich 3-1 down, desperately trying to get a foothold back in this game, just trying to get some possession football. The possession stats over the past few minutes must be absolutely terrifying from the Manchester City point of view. 78% I've got on my graphic, 78% of the ball for the champions.
Yeah, I think
77.9.
Just
let's have it right.
Got to get the points down.
Oh yeah. Get told off if they don't do it with the points.
I think Man City just having a little rest, just coming up to the 42nd minute.
Well, I think the referee might have had the ball more than Ipswich in the past few minutes, but they have got it back now.
It's been relentless for Man City, and it's tiring enough when you haven't got the ball trying to close down. And
well, here's Leif Davis trying to step inside Rico Lewis and into the area. He goes down, no penalty. He was caught in a little sandwich there between Savinho and Rico Lewis, and Sam Allison might be chatting to VAR again, but meanwhile Manchester City are counter-attacking down the other end of the pitch with Doku, who can't get past Twanzebe. De Bruyne picks it up left hand side. Kovacic plays it to the right hand corner of the area, and Savinho. Now Leif Davis is back defending, and he's up against Savinho once again, checking onto his left boot, knocks it back to Rico Lewis, and then Ruben Dias. Gvardiol. Get Perry Gross thoughts on whether that was a penalty in just a minute, but maybe David Coote in the Stockley Park centre is already having a look at that as the ball's threaded through to the edge of the area. Put out a play for a throw-in. Now, is the VAR symbol going to come up on the Jumbotron screens around us here, or is that not going to be looked at?
Well, if Man City take this throw-in, then looking on first looks, Leif Davis comes inside Rico Lewis. Then he comes inside Savinho. Savinho goes to tackle him with his left foot. I think that's a penalty. I think that Savinho has caught Leif Davis's standing foot, his right foot, and he's gone down. And you'll say now it's because it's referee's call, and that's not a clear and obvious error. I think Sam Allison, the referee, has to take responsibility because he didn't blow for the first penalty for Man City, because he just wanted to wait so he could go over to have a look at the TV screen, and he hasn't blown for that one. I think that's a penalty. I think Ipswich have been really a hard done.
Well, there's the subjectivity for you right there. You can look at one incident, but you can't look at another. Explain that to me. Free kick to Manchester City, out on the left-hand side, midway point of the Ipswich half. Couple of minutes to go in this first period on TalkSport 2. Champions League 3-1. Savinho to deliver a left-footed ball into the area. Up go the heads, and it's Wolfenden who heads clear for Ipswich. But De Bruyne picks it back up at the edge of the area. He runs into Morsey, and Morsey will be able to bring it clear and find Amari Hutchinson. Ipswich just trying to get some possession again and keep the ball away from their hosts just for a moment. Luongo tucks it back to Twanzebe. Morsey just outside his own penalty area, and he finds Luongo up to Hutchinson just shy of the halfway line, and then he plays the ball over the top looking for Delap. Delap's got in behind Diaz, but not quite away from Akanji, who stayed goal side of him. Right hand corner of the box, Delap lays it off to Johnson. First time ball from Johnson looking for Davis. It was well headed clear by Rico Lewis. Important header clear as well for Manchester City.
Good defend from Rico Lewis. Really good play from Ipswich. Luongo just getting it out to Ben Johnson, that right hand side, and getting it into Liam Delap. And unfortunately Ipswich, they need Liam Delap in the penalty spot position when he's the one who's had the link-up play and just laid it off to Ben Johnson.
Hutchinson for Ipswich, down the right-hand side of the penalty area. Good whip ball to the far post, but it's actually a comfortable save in the end for Ederson, edging towards added time here at the Etihad. 3-1 to Manchester City on TalkSport 2. Oxford lead up Blackburn in the Championship. Mark Harris scores again for the U's, and Peterborough are ahead. Now they were behind at Exeter, but they now lead 2-1. The posh Emmanuel Fernandez with the goal at St James's Park. 3-1 here to Manchester City, and we're about to find out from Michael Salisbury, who would have been the ref, but an injury meant he's swapped places with Sam Allison this afternoon, and we're about to see 5 minutes of minimum stoppage time that we're into now, with Kevin De Bruyne in possession on halfway for Manchester City. Plays it back for Kovacic, who's keeping his shirt for now in the absence of Rodri, and with the re-arrival of Ilkay Gundogan, who's on the bench today for Manchester City. But Kovacic scored against Chelsea last Sunday, which will not do him too bad at all. Now here's Doku out on the left-hand side, controls the ball beautifully under pressure from Twanzebe, works it in field to De Bruyne, trying to give it back with a first-time ball. Haaland picks it up at the edge of the area, runs into Morsey, who got an important foot in, but City have it back. Akanji into the feet of Kovacic. That first minute of a minimum 5 has almost elapsed here at the Etihad. On TalkSport 2, 3-1. As the ball's played out left-hand side from De Bruyne to Doku. Faced up by Johnson. Calmly works it back infield via Gvardiol to Ruben Diaz and across to Akanji. Hibs 1, Dundee 1 in Scotland. And Blackburn have equalised against Oxford almost as soon as they've gone behind Joe Rankin Costello. And Rangers 2-0 up on Ross County, the Welshman Rabbi Matondo with a second for Rangers. Savinho this time is eased out of it by Leif Davis in an exactly similar position to where Savinho won the penalty a little earlier that started the rot for Ipswich Town. 3-1.
It's better defending from Leif Davis there, because he knew that he's got to show Savinho down the line on his weaker right foot. But what he made sure, Dance, is as Savinho knocked the ball out of his feet, he just stepped across him a yard, so it meant he couldn't get round him, and the ball runs out for a goal kick. I think Ipswich were desperate to hear that half-time whistle, because they just got to recalibrate, get themselves in.
Well, the ball's bouncing around the centre circle, and Ben Johnson does enough to keep the ball away from Doku. Back it goes to Twanzebe on halfway. Smodics, seems an eternity since he put Ipswich ahead here at the Etihad. Now Johnson forcing Ruben Diaz back. He tripped him in actual fact as they were both tracking back towards City's dead ball line, and it's been given us a free kick to Manchester City. 3-1.
Again, Dance, we talk about football intelligence. Ben Johnson's got Gvardiol exactly where he wants him, and then it goes to Diaz. Diaz is facing the touchline. Just make him do something special to get out of trouble. Don't give him a chance. Don't have that presence at the back of him where you trip him up, he goes down, then Man City just get the free kick and regain possession again.
That's Perry Groves alongside me, Ian Danter here at the Etihad. Nearly 3 minutes of the minimum 5 at the end of this first half have been played. Lincoln City have gone 2-0 up against Mansfield in League One. Sean Ruhan putting the Imps 2-0 up. Here's Jeremy Doku in the area, great pace to the byline, pulls it back for Haaland, who turns it wide from a very, very tight angle. It was good defending by Jacob Greaves, who stuck to Haaland and stopped him getting a free shot at goal, and it ends up being an Ipswich goal kick. 3-1. Again,
it's trouble from those wide areas. Just Kevin De Bruyne releasing Jeremy Doku. Doku just goes on the outside of Luke Wolfenden. Said there, Dance, he gets to a byline, he's just trying to cut it back for Erling Haaland, makes that diagonal run to near post, just comes off Haaland's shin. He's just trying to redirect it and just side foot with his left foot into Ari Murich's goal.
Goal kick from Muric, who's had a first half to forget on debut for Ipswich, back at his old stomping ground. Came through the City Academy. He was at Burnley last season, so he's got plenty of Premier League experience, but he's very much a keeper of the unorthodox style. Right-footed ball downfield from Muric, looking to get Ipswich players further down the pitch, but City win it back. Doku hooking the ball up in the air under pressure, loses out, the ball drops on halfway for Twanzebe. Ball in field just caught Wolfenden out a little bit, and having to hit the ball forward early gave the ball back to Manchester City. We're into the last minute of added time at the end of this first half. Kovacic in the centre circle, floats the ball down the inside left channel. De Bruyne has broken that offside trap, feeds it back to Doku, left hand corner of the area. He comes in field, plays it into Kovacic, now at the edge of the area. Savinho lays it back to
out of that sort of stupor now, but it's difficult playing against Man City, Faye, because as I said, they're like the Red Arrows, they're everywhere.
Yeah, they certainly are. Let's hope they don't turn Ipswich to stone in this second half. It was a frenetic first half. What's this second 45 going to give us? Well, let's find out with Perry Groves and Ian Danter.
Thanks, Faye. City kick us off in their sky blue shirts and their white shorts and darker blue and sky blue socks, and they're heading for the North Stand away to our left that they like to attack in the second half of games. We're sat halfway back in the Colin Bell stand with the dugouts just in front of us. Ipswich in their all maroon away strip heading for the South Stand where their supporters are away to our right hand side. No changes at the break, so it's the same 11s that started the game. We did see Christian Molson come out with the Ipswich subs and warmed up, and I did wonder just for a fleeting moment, was he going to change keepers, Kieran McKenna, but not so. Edison in goal for City. Lewis, Akanji, Diaz, Gvardiol, Kovacic, Doku, Silnov, all in League One. Lincoln City 3-0 up on Mansfield. Adam Jackson. Wrexham 3-0 up on Reading. Andy Cannon. And Adam Phillips has put Barnsley 2-0 up against Northampton Town. Silva, and Silva takes the game down to gave him the ball, is struggling, and this might herald the reappearance of Ilkay Gundogan. You just never know. Kovacic down on his backside needing treatment. City 3-1 up.
Yeah, I think he just might have a dead leg. As you said there, just a knee from Ben Johnson just into his thigh. So it's either a dead leg or it's knee on knee. And obviously I don't think they'll...
Well, it's Jack Grealish who's actually being asked to go out and warm up by Pep Guardiola, and also a couple of others. Ake's going out there, Nunez and Stones, but no sign of Ilkay Gundogan.
Everybody apart from Gundogan.
Yeah, you can have 5 substitutes warming up at the time, and as the 5th comes out, that's actually McAtee who's walking out there, James McAtee. So the German international's going to have to wait. There's a bit of a delay here. Kovacic still getting treatment. Lincoln City have gone 4-0 up on Mansfield now in League One. Ben House with the 4th for Lincoln, who've lost both in... Sorry, not Lincoln, not lost both. They had lost their last 2 home games. But the Stags unbeaten so far in the league, with Nigel Clough's side 4-0 down. So 3-1 here to Manchester City. There's plenty more live football to come on the TalkSport network over the next couple of days. We've got the EFL Cup to come on Tuesday and Wednesday. On Tuesday, got a choice of commentaries for you. Everton Doncaster on TalkSport, and Crystal Palace Norwich on TalkSport 2. And on Wednesday, West Ham against Bournemouth on Talk. Nottingham Forest against Newcastle on TalkSport 2. So you've got 4 Carabao Cup ties from the second round across the network Tuesday and Wednesday night. Now Pep Guardiola is just looking at the substitutes warming up and saying, well, why isn't one of them coming over here? We need to make the change, because it doesn't look like Mateo Kovacic, who is at least back on his feet, is going to be able to continue here. John Stones looks like he's going to come on as a replacement for Kovacic here.
Yeah, well, John Stones, he can play in that holding midfield role. Said Kovacic was the only one really who had any discipline for Man City, just playing deep and everybody else, and Man City basically playing with a front 6 with De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva playing in the 2 sort of 10 positions.
While Stones is all purpose and can play in so many different positions, and it does appear that he's going straight into that midfield area, going nowhere near the centre half positions. So he's on and Kovacic is off. Barrow 1, Port Vale 0 in League 2. Gerard Garner for Barrow, and Blackpool 4-1 up at Cambridge United. Don Ballard with the 4th for the Seasiders. So you're up to date on TalkSport 2 as City making that enforced change. And even with Stones having got stripped and ready, still with the 5 subs out there warming up, no Ilkay Gundogan in a high-vis vest going through his paces. But I just thought for a moment when Jack Grealish was the first one sent out there, maybe that could have been a very, very attacking change in Pep Guardiola's mind. Not so.
What, Jack Grealish at the base of the midfield?
Yeah, imagine that, eh? As a libero. Perry Groves alongside me, Ian Dante. It's 3-1 to Manchester City. We played 5 minutes of the second half at the Etihad Stadium on this beautifully sunny afternoon. They're playing cricket just down the road at Old Trafford. Give you an update on that first test against Sri Lanka in just a moment. At lunch, Sri Lanka were 200 ahead. England, I think, require 129 runs to win with 7 wickets remaining. They're 76 for 3 against Sri Lanka. Yeah, 7 wickets remaining, 129 still required for England to win that test match. By no means done and dusted at Old Trafford, just down the road from us here. Manchester City trying to attack down the right hand side, but Kevin De Bruyne with a collector's item put the ball straight out of play for an Ipswich throw. 3-1.
Yeah, I think Kieran McKenna, Ipswich manager, were hoping this isn't going to be a cricket score as well in this second half.
So does our producer just to our right. She's shrugging her shoulders in that don't care.
Nonplussed,
kind of, yeah.
Wasn't it? Completely nonplussed.
Free hit is the argument.
Whatevs.
Here is Savinho, who's been terrific on his home competitive debut for Manchester City.
You know, if you're Leif Davis, the left back, Ipswich left back, right? First game you're playing in the Premier League, you're up against Mo Salah. Second game you're up against Savinho, you think, oh, it's like having a fight against Usyk one Saturday and then Tyson Fury the next Saturday. It's like, just give us a rest for a little while.
Well, Ipswich do have a slightly less hectic fixture list against teams to come once we get into the meat of the season. And they want to throw in their right back position. Their next few, AFC Wimbledon away on Wednesday in the Carabao Cup. I'll be there for that, reporting on Talksport. Fulham at home, Brighton away, Southampton away, Villa at home and West Ham away are Ipswich's next few in all competitions either side of the international break.
Yeah, I think
Luongo, good touch, finds Smodics in the centre circle, who tried to fire it down the inside right channel, spotting that Hutchinson was in space. It didn't come off for him, but now Delap fouls the Manchester City defender Gvardiol, and that's a free kick awarded by Sam Allison to Manchester City midway point of their own half, and they lead 3-1.
Yeah, I think it's just Liam Delap as the ball just bounced up, and just trying to back into Akanji, and Liam Delap just putting his left arm out, obviously to get his balance and to make sure Akanji can't come over the top of him. Unfortunately, his left elbow catches Akanji in the windpipe. Quite rightly, Sam Allison, the referee, gives the free kick. It's in a little bit stagnated, isn't it, Dan? It's beginning this second half. Man City haven't been at their free-flying best as they finished the first half. Not really got into their stride, which will, suit Ipswich.
Well, Pep Guardiola just having a word with Kevin De Bruyne as play restarts with a short free kick from Diaz to Gvardiol. Gives it back to Ruben Diaz. Ball's back with Edison. Wearing number 31. 3-1. That's the score at the moment, with 8 minutes gone in the second half. 9 minutes gone now, actually, as we tick round past 54 minutes. Ball's back with Ruben Diaz, just in front of his own 18-yard line. Square ball to the right for Akanji. Finds De Bruyne at right-hand side. Tucks it infield to Rico Lewis, who darts infield, then is caught from behind by Smodics. And a yellow card for the Ipswich new boy from Sam Allison. And Manchester City have a free kick.
I'm just looking at Rico Lewis there, obviously playing that right back, then coming into midfield. He's just like an owl. His head just keeps spinning round. When he's not in possession, his head just keeps spinning round, just to know what's going on around him, the angle when he receives the ball. Even there, when he gets it for Kevin De Bruyne, he's on the half turn. He knows exactly where he wants to play the next pass.
Rico Lewis flicks it out to the right hand side for De Bruyne. Gets to level the edge of the area, plays it in field. Haaland with his back to goal collects it, tries to feed into the path of Savinho, but Ipswich get it clear. And Delap, if he can get away on halfway, that's a great challenge from Ruben Diaz. Prevented Delap getting away for what would have been a straight run at Edison had he broken that challenge. But instead, De Bruyne back in almost a right back position at the moment for Manchester City, guiding the ball back to his keeper.
That was a all or nothing sliding challenge there from Ruben Diaz. You could say if Delap just gets his toe first, he's in. just well timed from Ruben Dias with his left foot.
Stones in the centre of the Manchester City midfield, having come on for Kovacic, finds Lewis, spreads play out early, wide, right to Savinho, once again trying to isolate Leif Davis down that right hand side, gets to the corner of the penalty area, gets it back after playing a 1-2 with Akanji, now puts the ball in low and flat, but it's deflected off a couple of Ipswich legs, and Morsey, well, he just hits it anywhere. You could see the run was being made by Hutchinson down this near side, the inside right, but he just played a reverse ball out to nobody in particular on the far left hand side and gives Man City a throw. 3-1, 10 gone in the second half here on TalkSport 2. Cambridge United 2, Blackpool 4. Danny Andrew gets one back for Cambridge at the Abbey. Up to date on TalkSport 2 in the Premier League. Brighton beat Manchester United live on TalkSport earlier at lunchtime. Here's Manchester City, who are 3-1 up with Savinho down the right-hand side of the penalty area. He's got Jacob Greaves for company this time. Tries to play a couple of 1-2s with De Bruyne, but Greaves stuck to his task well. Recent arrival from Hull City. And then Luongo clears, but only as far as Rico Lewis, scurrying infield from the right-hand touchline for Manchester City. Stones in the centre of the Ipswich half, delays his pass, just keeps it away from Amari Hutchinson. Bernardo Silva picking up the ball, and then slid down this left-hand side by Gvardiol, but he was caught late by Delap. Free kick to Manchester City, and it stays 3-1 with 57 minutes played on TalkSport 2. I will say, Perry Groves, it's been a while since I've seen Bernardo Silva as quiet. Not that he's had to do a great deal, but he's just not been as involved, certainly, as Savinho or Doku or De Bruyne have in this game.
Yeah, I think what's happened, Dance, he's done a lot of running off the ball, actually. Bernardo Silva said, like, De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva playing as the 2-10s, and it's sometimes in the game.
De Bruyne clips the ball down the left-hand side of the area from the free kick. Haaland keeps it in play, hooks it across goal, and it was Dias that was thundering in but couldn't get his head to it. Ipswich clear out to the right-hand side. Offside flag goes up against the City player. It will be a free kick to the visitors, and there's ironic cheers from the Ipswich fans in the south stand to our right, but they've got a decision go their way. 3-1 City.
De Bruyne and Erling Haaland were on the same wavelength. All the other Man City players were nowhere near them because they took the free kick really quickly. Great little chip pass from De Bruyne. Haaland just hooks it back into the 18-yard box, and the only person in there was Ruben Dias.
Ben Johnson runs into traffic inside his own half, but the ball might break for Smodic just over the halfway line. Was he brought down by Diaz? He was, and a yellow card for Ruben Dias, and even more loud cheers from the Ipswich fans in the 3 tiers away to our right-hand side as another decision goes the visitors' way. They've got a free kick about 10 yards inside City territory.
Really good play from Sami Smodic. As the ball drops out the air outside of his right foot, he actually nutmegs Ruben Dias, and Ruben Dias obviously a bit frustrated, just like it was a forearm smash across the windpipe. Sami Smodic went to the ground, and quite rightly Sam Allison, referee, gets his yellow card out. And to be fair, Kieran McKenna will be delighted with this first 13 minutes of this second half, because Man City have been nowhere near as rampant as what they were in the first half.
Free kick headed up in the air by Akanji. Twanzebe will pick it up and find Luongo out on the left-hand side. Chips it infield for Sam Morsey, and he lays it off to Leif Davis, the left-back, who was the assist king for Ipswich in the Championship last season. Ball played into Luongo's feet, left-hand corner of the area. Davis is there again, puts the cross in, deflected behind by Lewis for a corner kick to Ipswich in front of their fans in the south stand. The scoreline is as it was at half-time on TalkSport 2, 3-1 to Manchester City.
Yeah, good little link-up play over on the left-hand side from Ipswich. Just getting into Man City's territory. Leif Davis trying to go on the outside with his left foot, getting his cross in. Rico Lewis blocks it with his right foot. Call for Ipswich over on the left-hand side.
Be a right-footed in-swinger, Ben Johnson, the man that's gone across to take it. Clips it in very low into the near post. Greaves tried to get something on it, but it was comfortably cleared by Manchester City, and Savinho glides away from a couple of challenges, then just halts his run and guides it back to Akanji. He is fleet of foot, Savinho.
It's a shocking corner from Ben Johnson. Dance, wasn't it? For his in-swing of his right foot. It's the cardinal sin. You don't hit the first man, especially when you've got your centre halves, Wolfenden, Greaves coming up all over 6'2". Obviously you've got Liam Delap in there, 6'4". Worst ways out, miss the first man, give him something to go and attack.
Perry Groves alongside me, Ian Dancer here at the Etihad, where we played an hour on TalkSport 2. Game day phone-in coming up at 5:30 on TalkSport with Jason Cundy and Jamie O'Hara taking your calls throughout the season. 03717 223344 is the telephone number. You can WhatsApp a voice note to them on that same number as well with your thoughts on your team's performance today, whatever league they're in, and they'll keep you updated on Aston Villa against Arsenal. Adam Bridge, our reporter there. That also gets underway at 5:30 at Villa Park. Regular updates from that game. 3-1 here to Manchester City, and that applause you hear is for Gundogan coming out to warm up for Manchester City, but the players on the pitch trying to get the ball at the edge of the Ipswich box. It's given away. Rico Lewis striding into the area, tried to feed it into Haaland on a hat-trick, but it was intercepted, and the away shirts have it back, and it's back with Axel Tuanzebe, who fires it right-footed, long downfield for Delap, who can't keep the ball in play while stretching on this near touchline. It's gone out of play for a City throw.
It was really unlucky there from Rico Lewis, just sniffing out danger, gets interception, just tries to roll it into Erling Haaland, ends up hitting Erling Haaland's heels, comes back away, but again Ipswich can't keep the ball. It goes up, tries to go up to Liam Delap. Amari Hutchinson just hits the ball out of play.
Cheltenham 0, AFC Wimbledon 1. Joe Pigott for AFC Wimbledon. Palace 0, West Ham 1 in the Premier League. Thomas Souček puts West Ham in front at Selhurst Park, and Newport 3-1 up on Accrington Stanley in League 2. Aaron Wildig for the Exiles. 3-1 here too, as Manchester City, the leaders, come forward with Jeremy Doku trying to wrestle his way clear of the attentions of Ben Johnson, but he was offside, Doku, as the ball came over the top of his shoulder. And Ipswich have a free kick, 3-1 down.
Another cardinal sin. When you're the wide man looking right across the line, you should never be offside, because Doku's got enough pace to get in behind Ben Johnson anyway, so just went a little bit too early. So it's just been a little bit clunky, isn't it, from Man City in the second half, Dance? I'll be amazed. We're coming up to 63 minutes if Pep Guardiola doesn't make 2 or 3 subs, because you just need a bit liven up from Man City's point of view.
Well, Savinho's been lively, and he's got the ball again. Finds De Bruyne, right-hand corner of the penalty area. Gives it back to the Brazilian, with sky blue boots to match the shirt on his back. Clips in field for Akanji now for Manchester City. Back out to De Bruyne, right-hand side. Plays it down the right side of the box for Bernardo Silva. Fires it across the face. It goes right from the dead ball line, and it deflects behind for a Manchester City corner away to our left at the north stand end. 3-1.
Yes, the 2 number 10s, Man City linking up. Ball coming into Kevin De Bruyne. Just trying to roll it into Bernardo Silva's path. Makes that diagonal run from the centre of pitch out to the right-hand side. Gets himself to the byline. Just blocked by Luke Wolfenden. Goes off for a corner for Man City over on their right-hand side.
Savinho just retrieving the ball. You're listening to Manchester City 3, Ipswich 1 on TalkSport 2 with Sky Sports. Don't forget, you can stream more Sky Sports football than ever before, available with no contract on now. Like Villa Arsenal live today, just search Now Sports. In comes the corner, headed out to the edge of the area for Ipswich, but only as far as De Bruyne, right-hand corner of the box, plays it in. Haaland! Oh, great save, Muric. Haaland thought he'd got his hat-trick, and Manchester City's fourth, but a flying one-handed save from Ari Muric turned it over the crossbar for another City corner. 3-1.
Dan says that wavelength again, just comes out to Kevin De Bruyne on the edge of the 18-yard box, just has one touch out of his feet, just puts it in the danger area. Great header from Haaland coming in from that left-hand side. He thinks he scored. What a save from Ari Muric. It's a big left hand, palms it over the crossbar.
That second corner for Manchester City comes to nothing. It's hoofed away by Liam Delap. Jack Taylor, the former Peterborough United midfielder, is going to be on shortly for Ipswich, and also Marcus Harness, once of Portsmouth. Just an example of 2 of the players who've found themselves suddenly in the Premier League when being sort of League One regulars for previous clubs. Great moment for those 2 guys, but they're going to be coming on with Ipswich in desperate straits here. 3-1 down as we have 25 minutes to go on TalkSport 2. Ruben Diaz just in front of the centre circle for Manchester City. Clips it to his right for De Bruyne. He in turn lays it off to Akanji midway point of the half. Not much movement ahead of him, so he goes back out right to Kevin De Bruyne. Savinho had made a run on his outside, but it was just intercepted for a moment by Ipswich, but they can't get their foot on the ball. for very long, Ipswich Town. Manchester City win it back. Ipswich haven't scored in any of their last 7 away league games against reigning champions, top flight champions that is. Lost the last 3 by 15-0. Here they are 3-1 down, but they did take the lead. Wycombe Wanderers 1, Rotherham 0, and Cameron Humphreys on loan from Ipswich scores on debut at Adams Park. Colchester 1, Harrogate 1 in League 2, Sam Follering, and Nottingham Forest lead at Southampton. Morgan Gibbs-White makes it Southampton 0, Nottingham Forest 1. Jacob Greaves clears against Rico Lewis. It almost ricocheted into Rico Lewis's path for Manchester City, but it's cleared away only as far as Savino, the danger man for Manchester City on that far right hand side. Elects not to cross but plays it back in field via Akanji to De Bruyne. Now Akanji, the Swiss, has it again. Savino looks for De Bruyne, lovely ball, good turn by Lewis, goes down inside the area under pressure from Greaves, but they both fell at the same time, just a tangle of legs really more than anything, and Muric can collect as Crystal Palace 0, West Ham 2 is the latest score. Jared Bowen has got the second excuse me, for West Ham, and Lincoln 4, Mansfield 1. Comebacks on maybe for the Stags. Ajeji Oshilaja gets one back for Mansfield at the LNER Stadium. Perry Groves, it's 3-1 to City here.
That was a great little turn from Rico Lewis on the edge of the box. Kevin De Bruyne fed him in. It's a Cruyff turn, you know, when you let it just roll across your body, flicks it, and he actually stumbled himself, Dance, because Jacob Greaves had come too close to him. He was past him, and then he just fell over his own feet. So quite rightly, Sam Allis, referee, just waved play on, but it was a fantastic turn from Rico Lewis.
Hutchinson for Ipswich on the halfway line. Wriggles clear of Jeremy Doku for a minute. Johnson showing for him down the line, but Hutchinson's continuing himself and has won a throw off Gvardiol. So we're still waiting for those 2 Ipswich changes, but Jack Grealish looks like he's making ready to come on for Manchester City. And I think he better hurry up, because Pep Guardiola is giving him the hurry up, and he's also calling for Gundogan, I think. So we might be seeing one of the most popular substitutions for an awfully long time at the Etihad if Gundogan gets to make his second debut, and indeed the high-vis vest is coming off. We'll be seeing the German very shortly. Cambridge 3, Blackpool 4. What a game at the Abbey. Brandon Nyoku makes it Cambridge 3, Blackpool 4. So in the Premier League, West Ham 2-0 up at Palace, Fulham and Leicester 1 each. City 3-1 up here on TalkSport 2 against Ipswich. Forest 1 up at Southampton. Spurs 3-0 up at Everton. Don't know who scored the third, but that's only just gone in. In fact, it's Christian Romero who's got that third for Tottenham against Everton, who look like they're heading for back-to-back 3-0 defeats in the Premier League. A City win a corner as Doku forces Wolfenden and Twanzebe to put it behind. 3-1.
Jack Grealish is going to come on and normally plays on this left-hand side. The difference with Savino and Doku is, we just saw there, Doku and Spinner both on the outside. When it come into Doku, he just got the ball out of his feet, went on the outside of Twanzebe. Twanzebe has to come and sort of track him, and then it goes off for a corner. So that puts doubt in the fullbacks' minds whether it can go inside or outside. With Jack Grealish, 9 times out of 10 cuts inside, and he hasn't got the pace to go outside off the ball.
Well, Gundogan and Grealish wait, because City have this corner away to our left at the north stand end. Just over 20 minutes to go. De Bruyne hits the corner in. Bernardo Silva tried to caress it into the back of the net from 15 yards out, but it was blocked by a load of maroon shirts that were in the way. Amari Hutchinson brings it clear for Ipswich. Plays it out left, and then Wolfenden fires the ball back via Greaves to his keeper Muric, who had a couple of aberrations in the first half, and his ball played through his own penalty area, just found its way through to Massimo Luongo.
And Luongo nearly gave the ball away. Dan just tried to roll it back to Sam Morsey, sort of got stuck underneath his feet. So Ipswich don't look 100% confident of playing out from the back, because when Muric has got the ball, Man City go man for man, and they make sure that they go and engage Sam Morsey. He's normally one who conducts it for Ipswich, and then Ipswich can't get out.
Fulham 2, Leicester 1 in the Premier League. Alex Iwobi putting Fulham back in front. And Rangers 5, Ross County 0. Rabbi Matondo with another for Rangers this afternoon in the Scottish Premiership. You can hear them singing Ilkay's Coming Home to the tune of Football's Coming Home for Gundogan, who's going to be on in just a minute. But Ipswich have won the ball back as Morsey dispossesses De Bruyne. 4-4 Cambridge Blackpool now. Shane Lavery equalises at the Abbey. What a game in League One. Meantime, Leif Davis Crosses for Ipswich, too deep for anybody in a maroon shirt. Ben Johnson was notionally the closest to it. And it's out of play, and here come the changes. And listen to the roar. Savinho is the player coming off, and what a game he's had. But the first player that Pep Guardiola ever signed when he arrived at Manchester City is coming back on for his second debut. İlkay Gündoğan, who was at Barcelona last season, but was released to allow him to come back to Manchester City, and they love him here, quite right too. What a servant he was for them in his first spell. What can he do in the second spell? Meantime, Grealish is on as well. Grealish has come on, just trying to see who he's come on for. Meanwhile, the changes have been made by Ipswich, and Massimo Luongo's come off, and that's to allow Jack Taylor to come on. Marcus Harness also being readied, and I think he's coming on for Sammy Smodics, who's jogging towards this near touchline. Doku's the other player that went off for Manchester City. So Grealish and Gündoğan on, Savinho and Doku off. So it is those wide areas, Perry Groves, where Pep has decided to ring the changes.
Yeah, Jack Grealish will come out on this left-hand side of the front three. Bernardo Silva will go out on like the right-hand side. So Savinho got a standing ovation, quite rightly so, because he was absolutely outstanding in that first half. Closed Muric down for Kevin De Bruyne's goal, got brought down for the penalty by Leif Davis for Erling Haaland's penalty. So he was the one-man City player that turned the game around.
18 minutes to go. You're listening to Manchester City 3, Ipswich 1 on TalkSport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever the mission, home or away, Enterprise helps over 120,000 people every day. Watford 2, Derby County 1. Moussa Sissoko puts Watford in front. They were behind at Vicarage Road. And Barrow 2, Port Vale 0 in League 2. Emil Aqua with a second for the Cumbrians. Hibs 2, Dundee 1 up in Scotland. Kieran Bowie putting Hibs ahead. Gündoğan gets his first touch. You can tell it was him who picked up possession. Released by Barcelona because, well, they needed to get wages in for wages, and he forewent a lot of his own personal wages to cancel the contract so he could come here.
I think he might have been well remunerated.
Oh, I'm sure he did a right out of it one way or another, but you know.
Just looking at Ipswich, Jack Taylor will go and play next to Sam Morsey in that sort of, you know, two holding midfield rows, and then Harness will go out on that left-hand side.
That's where Harness is stationed. Barnsley 2, Northampton 1. Liam McCarron gets a goal back for Northampton at Oakwell. You're listening to TalkSport 2. The game day phone-in is at 5:30 tonight over on TalkSport with Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy. Man City fans, why don't you ring into Jamie and Jason and wax lyrical about how good you thought Savinho was this afternoon. And Ipswich fans, who would you rather have as your goalkeeper? Ari Muric, who's made his full debut today, or Christian Walton? Now Christian, the ball over the top for De Bruyne, rolls it across for Haaland, who can't score. De Bruyne then volleys high and wide, but the offside flag has gone up against De Bruyne in the end. And I think, in fairness, Perry Groves had the offside flag up about 20 seconds ago for Manchester City's midfielder.
You never know, Dance might get the call if an assistant referee gets an injury.
Well, it worked for Jimmy Hill, might work for you.
And John Burridge, remember the Pete Shilton lookalike goalkeeper?
Yes, he was quite the character, John Burridge.
Every England game,
that's putting it lightly.
If you remember, back in those days, there was no substitute goalkeepers, so he used to take his boots and his gloves to every England home game when Peter Shilton was playing, just in case. Not is there a doctor in the house, is there a goalkeeper in the house?
You got to admire that for the sheer brass neck of it.
He broke my foot once. I had to mark him from corners, go and stand and be a nuisance, and he just stamped on my foot. Didn't go any near him again. Must
have wound him up too much, Perry. No smoke without fire. 3-1 Manchester City.
He had a point.
15 minutes to go. Ipswich in possession. Liam Delap Gets up towards the edge of the D, options to his right, plays it right to Ben Johnson at the right-hand corner of the box, cross to the far post, guided down, can it be swept goalwards by Taylor? It can't. Harness leaves it for Delap, he can't get the shot away. It's pinball around the edge of the area, might come through to Ben Johnson, but he runs into Guardiola, can bring the ball clear, and then him and Harness go for a 50-50 and ends it up with Harness getting the final touch, City getting it clear, and the ball's got a headache. 3-1 Manchester City.
Tell you what, it's really good link-up play from Liam Delap. I actually think he's led the line quite well, Dance, when the ball's come into him. He just gets the ball out to Ben Johnson on this right-hand side, checks it back onto his left foot, just goes out to the left-hand side. Leif Davis coming in. I think Leif Davis should be actually volleying that across the 6-yard box. He's tried to just lay it back. That gives Man City, the defenders, chance then just to come out another 4 or 5 yards, smother the ball, and then completely negate the danger.
Manchester City have West Ham United next at the London Stadium before Arsenal come here in a couple of weeks' time. That'll be a humdinger, Perry. Your old lot coming here for an early season title decider. Tottenham 4-0 up on Everton now. Son with his second of the afternoon and Spurs fourth. Not a good start to the season if you are a toffee.
Long season, when it beat 3-0 at home against Brighton, then 4 today.
Perry will be on duty on TalkSport tomorrow afternoon for the Sunday session with Sam Matterface. Live updates on all the afternoon's Premier League action from 1:30. Grealish going in at the edge of the area, can't get the better of Sam Morsey. Ben Johnson trying to bring it clear, and Adrian Durham is your host, sorry, not Sam Matterface, for Sunday session tomorrow.
Just seeing Pep Guardiola has just clapped like a seal, you know, when you want the fish thrown to you. So he's clapped his hands above it, and that's because Jack Grealish ran 20 yards to go and close the ball down and just win the ball back and just toe poke to Ilkay Gundogan.
And he finds Ruben Diaz, does Grealish, from this left-hand side. It's now worked out to the far side, and Bernardo Silva up against Leif Davis, who thinks he's had the afternoon off now that Savinho's gone off, but Bernardo Silva's a tricky customer. Let's have it right. Akanji still down that right-hand side of the penalty area, finds Bernardo Silva once more. Akanji tight to the touchline, works it back in field to Ruben Diaz. Plays a 1-2 with Gundogan. It's currently Manchester City 3, Ipswich Town 1. For the latest odds, head to William Hill, the official betting partner of TalkSport 2's Premier League coverage, where right now you can get Haaland to score next at 3-1, Bernardo Silva at 17-2 to score next, De Bruyne at 9-1. If you're feeling brave, Ipswich 55-1 to win at this point. That's all thanks to William Hill. 18+, begambleaware.org. Manchester City camped inside the Ipswich half with 12 minutes to go, looking for a fourth.
Kieran McKenna will be delighted with the second half, because he'll be thinking, if we can just lose this 3-1 and we draw the second half 0-0, it's a massive positive. But from Man City's point of view, Dance, they've just eased off because they know that the game's won. They're 3-1 up. They haven't overexerted themselves. But I have to say, Ipswich has shown a lot of heart and a lot of spirit in the second half.
Delap, though, dispossessed by Akanji, and De Bruyne brings it clear for Manchester City. Haaland going through the middle, and he looks for him now. He actually runs across to Grealish, who gets inside the area, tried to pass it into the net, but it was blocked behind by Twanzebe for a Manchester City corner at the North Stand end. 3-1 the score.
Yeah, link-up play there from Kevin De Bruyne again, just rolling it out to Jack Grealish. Little smile from Jack Grealish, because I think he should be going on the outside of Twanzebe, and that's the part of the game Grealish got rad, because he's got it stuck in between his feet. He's tried to bend it with the instep of his right foot, and then it's quite easy defending for Twanzebe. He just gets his block in. Another corner for Man City on the left-hand side,
which are going to be taken by Kevin De Bruyne, right-footed in-swinger from the Belgian. Grealish is there for a short corner. It's actually gone further out to Gundogan at the edge of the box, clips it to the far post. He was looking for Haaland, headed up in the air by Davis. Taylor heads it further clear for Ipswich, but it's won back by Bernardo Silva. He's got Ruben Diaz in space down the right-hand side, tries to whip a low cross in, and it actually came off Amari Hutchinson last of all, and Bernardo Silva takes a throw.
It's been a feature of Man City's play, Dance, from corners from Kevin De Bruyne. 50% of the time he hasn't just, helped it into the box. He's come out to the edge of the box just to change angle. That time it was for Gundogan, just trying to float it into Erling Haaland. To be fair, it was really good defending from Jacob Greaves, just making sure that he gets first contact.
Ali Al-Hamadi will be on very shortly for Ipswich Town, with 10 minutes to go on TalkSport 2. Manchester City 3, Ipswich Town 1. Bernardo Silva up against Davis, down that far right hand side, one area of the pitch where there's still some bright sunlight. Everything else is in shade on this Etihad playing surface. Silva again plays the ball infield to Akanji, finds Gvardiol. Now in the centre of the half, it's Ruben Diaz, who fires it out to his immediate left, and De Bruyne. Now Grealish will immediately come in field from this left flank, and then a reverse pass out to the left hand side, and De Bruyne, who was expecting Grealish to continue his run into the box, but he just held back for a moment, and that allowed Muric to collect.
Get De Bruyne off, just giving the ball away first time in the 80th minute. He just plays like he's in a testimonial game, doesn't he, Kevin De Bruyne?
Yeah.
Just drifts around, just like makes himself available for the ball.
He's out of contract at the end of this season, the same as Pep Guardiola. What of his next move? Blackburn 2, Oxford 1 in the Championship. That was Arne Sigurdsson. So without Sammy Smodics, Blackburn are still finding the way to win, it seems. Bradford City 3, Bromley 0. Bobby Poynton with Bradford's third. Here at the Etihad, 8.5 minutes to go. It's Manchester City 3, Ipswich 1. Of the Ipswich fans taunting the home support. I shan't tell you what they're singing because it's a bit rude, but it's referring to the larger tendencies here that may not have been quite so prevalent a few years ago. We'll work out the song from there, I'm sure. Corner to Manchester City.
Your support's not very good.
It's that one that starts with "Where were you?" I need say no more. Here comes the change, and Ali Al-Hamadi will be going back to his old stomping ground on Wednesday when Ipswich travel to AFC Wimbledon in the second round of the Carabao Cup. Sold for about £1 million to Ipswich during the course of the season, and the Ipswich fans are doing the Poznan. They've got nothing to celebrate, but they've just decided they're going to turn their backs, link arms, and do the Poznan here at the Etihad. As Liam Delap comes off at the club where he used to ply his trade, and Al-Hamadi's first job is to come back and help defend this corner, which is taken short by Bernardo Silva. Comes out to the edge of the area, and Jack Grealish dancing down the left-hand side of the box, trying to make room for a cross, but he's being held up by Taylor. So back it goes to John Stones, across to Gundogan. Gundogan finds De Bruyne right-hand side, nearly level with the edge of the penalty area. Can't make tracks down that right-hand side, so it's work left to the inside left channel, and Josko Gvardiol, the Croatian. Stones is trying to make runs along the back line at the edge of the area, but he's not being utilised. Gundogan will sweep it out to De Bruyne, right-hand side, level with the area. Clips it down the right-hand side of the box for Rico Lewis. The cross is deflected off Morsey, hooked away by the Ipswich defence for a Manchester City throw. 7 minutes to go, and now the City fans are doing the Poznan in response to the Ipswich fans away to our right-hand side.
You know, when Kevin De Bruyne's got the ball, they've sort of mixed it up, from the corners, short corners. It's like his ball's drone and he's got remote control. He just pinged it from the far right-hand side out to the far left-hand corner of the 18-yard box to Jack Grealish. That must have been fully, 80 yards? And
Haaland plays it through the legs of the defender for Gundogan. Haaland gets it back at the edge of the area, sweeps it down the left-hand side of the box for Grealish, faced up by Twanzebe. Jinks one way, then the other, looking to make room for a cross, dinks it into the near post, punched away unconvincingly by Muric, drops at the edge of the area, but De Bruyne won't get there. Akanji will to tidy up and work it back to Ruben Diaz. City still have it. 6 minutes to go, 3-1. Grealish again up against Ben Johnson this time. Tries to play a ball along the deck. Reverse pass for Gvardiol. Doesn't come off, but he keeps possession. Works it back to Ruben Diaz. De Bruyne now finds Grealish again. It's just keep ball for Manchester City. Now Gundogan, as the ball slid through to him by De Bruyne. Bernardo Silva calling for it over on the far side of the field. Lovely pass to find him. Works it back in field to Akanji. Akanji finds De Bruyne, who's drifted back out to that right-hand side. And now Bernardo Silva, little reverse ball into the area for Rico Lewis. Little flick in field trying to get it goalwards, and Wolfenden under real pressure just pokes it out of play for a corner kick. Still 3/4 of possession going the way of Manchester City, and it's 3-1 with 5 minutes to go on TalkSport 2.
Yeah, to be fair to Ipswich, Dance, they've kept their shape really well. I said about the 4-3-3 where they're very, very narrow. So Man City just find it difficult to break them down. Rico Lewis making that run again from the middle of the pitch to that right hand side, maybe over elaborating just with his sort of Cruyff flick.
Short corner again, it's worked out to Gundogan almost at the midway point of the half. He plays it left to Rico Lewis. De Bruyne in plenty of space on the right hand side, whips the cross in, headed away at the near post for Ipswich by Al Hamidi, but they still have it. As soon as they can get it clear, Ipswich, the second ball just doesn't drop for them and City get it back. 3-1 the score.
Well, that's because they've got all 10 men behind the ball. So now Liam Delap's gone off, they've got nothing to play off of. El Hamidi did really well there at near post, getting the heady clearance. But say it's just wave after wave of Man City attack.
In League One, Charlton 2, Bolton Wanderers 0. Matt Godden, great summer acquisition from Coventry City, gets Charlton second of the afternoon. They've won both their league games so far this season without conceding. George Edmondson going to come on for Ipswich for these last couple of minutes. Could be a double change in actual fact. Connor Chaplin's going to be on as well for the Suffolk side. But Manchester City still piling players forward. So much of this second half has been played away to our left-hand side, but the score is still as it was midway through the first half, 3-1. Here though is Bernardo Silva playing the ball across the face of goal, diverted behind by Jacob Greaves for another City corner at the north stand side away to our left. 3-1 it is.
Kevin De Bruyne again, the puppet master, just pulling all the strings, just releases Rico Lewis again down that right hand side, just tries to whip it across 6-yard box. Really good block from Jacob Greaves at the near post. Corner for Man City again over on their right hand side. Wonder what De Bruyne is going to do with it this time.
Well, he rarely put a ball direct into the box. The last kind of direct corner he hit straight for Grealish, who's lurking at the edge of the area. He's there again now, but De Bruyne looks for Ruben Diaz, but that's a good strong header by Jacob Greaves to get it clear for Ipswich, but it will drop for Grealish inside left channel. Checks onto his right boot, doesn't put the cross in, plays the square ball along the midfield for Gundogan, and he plays a 1-2 with Rico Lewis. Gundogan sweeps it out to the right wing, and De Bruyne in that bright sunshine over on the far side of the field. Bernardo Silva plays a very short 1-2 with Gundogan. 2.5 minutes to go of normal time, plus whatever the referee wants to add on for stoppages. Haaland still on a hat-trick. He's been that way since the 16th minute. Gets it and tries it, and he's got the hat-trick. Goodness me, he just let fly along the deck from about 25 yards out, a shot to nothing on the turn, and it beat Muric, nestled in the bottom corner, and a 7th Premier League hat-trick for Manchester City's Erling Haaland. Stop him if you can. Very few teams can stop him. Another team he scored against, and he's got a hat-trick against Ipswich to make it 4-1.
Dance, that is the definition of clinical. I've been watching Erling Haaland. He's just sort of jogging around in the 18-yard box. He doesn't make that many runs in behind. He's just build up on Man City's right-hand side. Comes into Rico Lewis. The Rico Lewis just then comes to Erling Haaland. He gets the ball out of his feet from 24 yards out. He just swivels one movement with his left foot, just strikes it first to second time, gives Muric absolutely no chance down to his left hand side, and that is Erling Haaland all over dance. I don't think he'd touch the ball maybe for like 10-12 minutes, because he's not interested in getting in that build-up play, because he knows that he has to stay central. Gets the ball out of his feet, swivels, shoots, goal, hat-trick, 4-1. Clinical to the core.
And a 23rd senior hat-trick for Erling Haaland, and that's his last contribution, as he's substituted by his manager Pep Guardiola, because two players went to come, Matheus Nunes and also coming on James McAtee for Manchester City, and Haaland gets a little hug from his manager. His 7th Premier League hat-trick and his 10th in all for Manchester City in all competitions. De Bruyne, the other player coming off, who gets a huge hug from his manager, and quite right too, because he once again has been, as Perry Groves has been alluding to, pulling all the strings for Manchester City this afternoon. So McAtee and Nunes on, Haaland and De Bruyne, the architects in chief, off for Manchester City. So I make that 13 goals in his last 8 Premier League appearances, if you go from last season into this, for Erling Haaland.
And you say as well, Dance, he loves August, doesn't he? That's his favourite month. He's got 16 goals in 10 appearances in August.
And we're just going into 5 minutes of minimum stoppage time. George Edmondson has come onto the field for Ipswich. Just looking to see who he's come on for. It may well be, just looking at the back, well, Greaves is still out there. I think it's Axel Twanzebe that has made way. Indeed it is. Wolfenden's gone into that right back position. Connor Chaplin is also on for Amari Hutchinson for these last few minutes, but it's all academic really. Muric passes the ball out of the area to find Jack Taylor. And the long ball, trying to get Ali Al-Hamadi away in between two Manchester City centre halves, but in the end Ruben Diaz and Akanji tidy up quite comfortably between them. 90 minutes have been played. Edison, who has had very little to do since picking the ball out of the back of his net in the 7th minute from the Smodic shot that he very nearly kept out. The ball just trickled over the line to put Ipswich into a shock lead, but that lead did not last long, and that lead has just been extended by the hat-trick hero Erling Haaland once again. And he scored 36 of 40 club penalties as well, with the spot kick he converted to get City back level.
They come up with all these stats, don't they, that he only touched the ball 13 times, 14 times. He's just economy of movement and clinical, because even all that build-up play, Dance, he wasn't sort of coming short, was he, and spinning in behind and getting himself like linking play up. He was just hovering around the 18-yard box. In his head he's thinking, I'll get a chance in a minute, as long as I make sure that I'm central. Either De Bruyne pick me out or Bernard Silva pick me out, Savinho, Doku. And that was one of the rare goals, Dance, I think, outside the 18-yard box.
Yeah, he's kind of made it for himself really, more than anything else.
I think he got a little bit bored because he wasn't obviously getting like any service, so he just dropped a little bit deep, say from 24 yards out, swivel, left foot, Muric, absolutely no chance.
Well, we're into the 3rd minute of the 5 that have been added on at the end of this game, and Manchester City are still in possession. Lovely little swivel from Rico Lewis, finds Nunez and McAtee, the two substitutes who've just come onto the field for the hosts. McAtee rolls it back to Akanji. Kieran McKenna still hands in pockets at the edge of his technical area. Penny for his thoughts right now, Perry Groves.
I think he'll reiterate to his team, and when he's doing his interviews afterwards, about the ruthlessness of the Premier League, because say that they self-imploded in that 4 minutes, because all 3 of the goals were Ipswich mistakes, and he'll be pleased with the second half because they have acquitted themselves well. They've kept their shape, their discipline. So Man City have been comfortable because they knew the game was won.
Yeah, they've not had to extend themselves too greatly, Manchester City, in this second half, but they have scored to add to their half-time 3-1 lead. Grealish has been fouled, and a yellow card for Al-Hamadi, so a free kick late on for Manchester City away to our right hand side. Was that Haaland getting the man of the match inevitable?
Well, obviously, because he's got the hat-trick ball, but if you're Savinho, you're actually thinking, actually I've played quite well there. You'll be a little bit disappointed.
Nunez down the right hand side for Manchester City, clipping the ball into the box, and it was very comfortably headed back by Edmondson to his keeper Muric, who, when he puts his head on the pillow tonight, Ari Muric will think back
probably
to
miss.
That wasn't what I was going to say. Trust me.
Or give it away.
Edmondson loses out inside his own area. Gundogan heads it on, drops on the 6-yard line. Greaves heads it half clear. Bernardo Silva tries to bring it down. Morsey does sweep it half clear. It's won back again by Manchester City. Full time in the Premier League. West Ham have won 2-0 at Palace. Fulham have beaten Leicester 2-1. Forest have beaten Southampton 1-0, and Spurs 4-0 winners against Everton. Still playing out time here at the Etihad on TalkSport 2. 30 seconds of minimum stoppage time to come. Manchester City 4, Ipswich Town 1. And here's Jack Grealish into the area. Left hand side goes down under pressure from the challenge of Morsey, and the referee has in the end blown the whistle for a free kick to Ipswich Town. And Grealish is going to get a yellow card for the challenge on Morsey, says Sam Allison.
Jack Grealish had just said to Sam Allison, what are you doing? Because when the ball comes in from McAtee, Grealish gets it And there is Sam Morse's, I think it's his boot that comes off, because his left foot treads on Jack Grealish's right foot, and Sam Morse's boot comes off. That ain't a dive from Jack Grealish.
No.
Sam Allardyce has booked him for diving. Jack Grealish had a laugh because there's contact from Morsey. It goes on to Jack Grealish's standing foot. So that is more of a penalty than a dive.
And yeah, it's a free kick to Ipswich Town, which Muric will smack downfield. We've played the 5 minutes and the referee blows the full-time whistle, and normal business is resumed at the Etihad at the start of a Premier League season. Ipswich Town came here more in hope than expectation, but they took a